Hey, welcome to Wolf's Watch. I'm Wolf. 1146. That was the year that wars were eliminated forever. The governments of Europe came together and banned the crossbow in 1146. That's 847 years ago. On Wolf's Watch, there is math. Sorry. So in 1146, that's 847 years ago, the governments came together of Europe at that time, which was most of the known Western world at least, and banned the crossbow. And they were convinced, they announced, they decreed that will end war for all time. How's that worked out for us? And I was thinking about that. It was on this day. That was why, according to onthisday.com, too, by the way, at to them, or they're always interesting and entertaining. And I was just thinking, it's pretty amazing how we want to ban something for all time and ignore human behavior involved with it. Is it the people or the thing? In this case, crossbows. No crossbows equals no war was the logic. That seems pretty consistent for government logic. For example, right now I'm in the parking lot where there was a double murder here in this parking lot not too long, within the last month. And as with most crimes in Los Angeles County, there's no suspects, no arrests. But it's interesting because back here, less than 100 yards away, is one of the most luxury resorts in Los Angeles County, Terranea Resorts. So on a quiet morning at about sunrise, now bear in mind, this parking lot's closed at night. So it was after it was opened at sunrise and someone else came by the government and then someone else came into the parking lot that this occurred. And based on photos and news reports, there were at least 6 to 10 shots fired on that quiet morning, less than 100 yards away from sorry about the setting sun back here, from one of the biggest resorts in Los Angeles County, very near, also in line of sight of a group of houses that are nearby in another direction, backed up against a hill, so the noise of the gunfire would be echoing. So it'd be very loud at that time of day. Nobody heard anything, nobody saw anything. It's unfortunate 2 people lost their lives. And this is part of a trail that my friends and I hike. I wouldn't say hike; it's a walk. Right? It's a very groomed trail. It's what I call a retail trail. There's no technical aspect to it. It's just a nice walk on a groomed pathway along the cliffs above the Pacific back here, it's Pacific Ocean. And look at that and go, okay. And the reason I mentioned that is several people had asked about it because it was mentioned in a previous broadcast. But again, it's part of the problem with investigating that crime is who's responsible for what? Accountability between different agencies. So it was considered to be part of a larger crime spree by a known street gang and handed off to another agency. So now we have the problem of who's really accountable for following up on that. It's fallen into the well, they're doing it, no, they're doing it kind of an argument. So, and the reason I bring that up is the series we've been doing on artificial intelligence. And one of the panel discussions at the Artificial Conference, along with one of the presentations at Artificial Conference 2 weeks ago, that was part of the discussion. It was the legal framework for artificial intelligence and the fact that the large corporations, the 6 largest corporations that are creating and selling artificial intelligence-based tools are asking the federal government and other government and local state governments to regulate. They're really going to the federal government. And I was thinking about 1146. Had the governments come together and in their wisdom decided that it would end warfare for all time if they just simply banned crossbows. Now, what are the odds that we're going to get better legislation, better framework for moving forward with artificial intelligence from politicians that are in the midst of desperate battles for re-election because it's election year when they're going to be passing these laws? It'll be interesting to see what comes from that. And what the government types, the politicians and other government employees that have weighed in on this have said, one of their biggest concerns is that it would get into the artificial intelligence will get into wrong hands. They haven't defined what that means. And B, they're very concerned that it can be used for misinformation, which means they want to continue this. How do I put it in a way that won't get me banned or get my house burned down? That they want to decide what is true and what is not true, who can say what, and what's allowed to be said. So that's already in the proposals for a upcoming legislation. And with this being an election year, it's like, is this really the time to encourage them or allow them to have this conversation? Because what is it that the people that will pass the law that will be coming soon, deciding who gets to use artificial intelligence, what tools can be used, what can they be used for, what speech will be allowed in the use of those tools, who is it a good idea to allow them to do it in the midst of re-election campaigns? Because what will their focus be? Will their focus be on actually putting in the effort to learn about the technology, to learn what they need to know in order to make good decisions and creating helpful legislation? Or will it be a rush to do what's ever convenient and what will get them elected? So not making a projection on that, just asking some questions that have been rattling around in my mind. You know, because we look at what we've got here in this park or this trail that used to do weekly, and it's just one of many scenarios like that on these trails and in LA County, and that's just the stuff that gets reported. So that's a whole nother discussion. Anyway, food for thought. It's a beautiful sunset here on the West Coast. And it's just always astounding watching some seagulls sitting on a rock out here as the tide is coming in or not coming in. Can't tell. You just stand and watch it for a minute. But beautiful area. Anyway, hope you're having an awesome day. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you on the trail.